Hello and welcome back to the HeroesHype Amateur Series Game 4 in this best of 5 between the Goon Squad Incorporated and the PLEYZ. And guys, we are already in the draft. Somehow I did not get the link, so we're going to switch right over into that. Anna, what's happening so far? You are muted. That's what is happening.
Well, first of all, I'm muted. And second of all, we were rocking out to Pikachu, so that's probably why we were all distracted. Third of all, though, it looks like we saw Jaina and Illidan being banned here on Sky Temple, so people fear the damage. Goon Squad has gone ahead and first picked Lost Vikings. They didn't get the first pick overall, but they went ahead and prioritized that. The first pick overall was actually Sylvanas for the PLEYZ. They followed that up with Vala and Brightwing. Goon Squad followed up the Vikings with a Nubrak, Kael'thas, and now Tassadar. So a half support. They still are missing a healer. They've got a bit of a squishy tank with no one to help him, a big damage dealer, and a big damage soaker, experienced soaker. So Goon Squad looking pretty good, but the PLEYZ having lots of flexibility to figure out what they want to do in response.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a tank of some kind here. ETC is a great one for this map because of that stage dive, being sure that you have your tank at all times. But we've also been seeing people prioritize Muradin a lot too, and having stuns there would enable the players to be able to capitalize on it with Vala and the Sylvanas too. I think we'll probably see one of the tankier tanks here and then another assassin of some sort. Or maybe possibly a Tyrande so that we could have the Hunter's Mark and Vala and Sylvanas could deal more damage to whoever has the mark on them. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to get a really tanky tank and then to go for the Falstad. That would also be really cool in my opinion because then they would have the global map presence of Falstad and Brightwing plus maybe even an ETC with stage dive. So they would be all over the place. And I don't know if you remember, but we casted one game in the amateur series where having a Falstad on Sky Temple actually won the game because he was able to fly to a tempo and get enough shots from it to kill a core before people could catch him.
Right, I remember that now that you say that. So the PLEYZ will grab Muradin, a very, very strong tank. Probably my favorite tank right now. I agree with you, it's sad that nobody wants to play with Arthas anymore, Gilly, but Muradin has been shown to be very, very strong. Now we will see whether they will grab another damage dealer, which I think Falstad is a great idea. I would go with your advice here, Gilly. But I think there is precedent for a half support here as well.
There's also Zagara still open, and we've been seeing Zagara a lot more. They would have a lot of potential for sieging with Zagara and Sylvanas, and they'd be able to work off of Devouring Maw, which is pretty good in those temple fights where you're trying to fight around a certain area. Even Zeratul with the Void Prison, they could really set some stuff up with the Void Prison into something like a Wailing Arrow or the Rain of Vengeance. But you are correct, we will have the Tyrande there, and that will help with the having the Hunter's Mark will help in terms of making sure that they are really being able to focus down whoever it is that has the Hunter's Mark. Now, the Goon Squad do have Tassadar, so he's able to put shields on the Nubrak. We won't see them get another tank. Most likely it will be a full healer here. What do you think? Maybe a Malfurion?
Malfurion is good because, like you mentioned earlier, Lost Vikings are a lot of bodies to heal, so they can hide under Tranquility really well. I have a gut feeling toward Rhaegar as well.
Yeah, me too.
Because he has a lot of utility with his wards. Slowing could be really, really cool in terms of Kael'thas being able to be used to his full potential. Ooh, instead we're going to see Uther. So we're going to be able to see some stunnage, some solid healing, and also I think that this also is a little bit of a nod to the fact that Anubrak is not the tankiest of tanks, so the support has got to be able to take care of himself.
Yeah, he's a very tanky support, and he's got those stuns like you mentioned, and that's going to be really handy as they have stuns from Anubrak, stuns from Kael'thas, a stun from Uther, and that's going to be really nice as they're going into fighting in an enclosed space. But the PLEYZ have stuns of their own. They've got the Tyrande Lunar Flare, they've got stuns from Muradin as well, so it's going to be, I think, a game of stuns here for Game 4.
Yeah, and I do love a good game of stuns. It's like Game of Thrones, except not winter is coming. It's, what's coming here? The storm is coming? I don't know. I thought I'd come up with a punchline by the time I arrived there, but I didn't. So, you guys help me in chat. But we do have Pajama Vikings, which is one of my favorite skins. Very excited to see those guys again. That's going to be lots of fun. And hopefully those poor little Vikings won't get stunned and melted down like you were talking about, Gilly.
Well, it's a possibility, but I think with the single target stuns that we've got from Muradin and Tyrande, unless they get caught in a lunar flare, I think they'll most likely be going after whomever it is that they're going to try to pick off really quickly. But we are loading in to the Sky Temple. I'm going to switch over to the game screen. Don't forget the plays are up 2-0, but the Goon squad, if you're going to come back with something, it could be the Vikings on Sky Temple, as they are great on this map. And I think we'll most likely see them doing the separating thing while the rest of the team goes ahead and pushes down a lane, trying to get ahead in experience by picking up some tower kills in the early game.
Of course, if you haven't been here with us before or you're new to Heroes of the Storm, I'll give you a quick review of what's going to happen on this map. This is the largest map we have in Heroes of the Storm, so it's a lot harder for heroes to move between lanes. There are 3 temples on this map, one at the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. Those temples, when you stand upon them, will go in your favor and they will start shooting at your opponent's buildings. You want that to happen as long as possible, but there are mercenaries that will also spawn on, or guardians rather, that will also spawn on those temples and try to push you off of it. So we'll see a lot of skirmishes around those temples between these 2 teams, which we will introduce right now. I'll start with the Goon squad, who will be in blue. Hosty will be playing all 3 of the Lost Vikings. Boss Floss will be again on a Nubarak. Goat will play Tassadar, Yoda will play Kael'thas, and Get Up will be on Uther.
These guys being super awesome to each other. We also have the PLEYZ playing in red with Pirate Rum on the Tyrande, Yelkow playing Muradin, Evan Drinde on Vala, Zeus playing Sylvanas, and in the bottom will be Lex Uther playing Brightwing. Right off the bat, I want to mention that I really love the Brightwing placement on bottom on Sky Temple because she can stay in lane for as long as possible, get as much experience from the minions, and then once the teams start to engage in the fights around the mid and top temples, which are the first ones that spawn, she can come in right at the beginning. So it all helps them get a little bit in terms of experience as much as possible, and they're going to need it because they're playing versus the Lost Vikings.
We see Goon Squad sending 4 members of their team down into the bottom against that Brightwing in that bottom lane. We see the Oracle go off, so they have vision. They know that they are alone. Tyrande and Muradin are going to head down there to help out, perhaps, but they're going to put a lot of aggressive pushing on this bottom lane right now here in the early game before we even hit 1 minute.
Yep, it's already halfway down. Lex Uther doing a great job of killing all of the minions, so the towers do damage to the heroes, and that at least helps a little bit. They've got this nice scouting drone so they can see if anyone's trying to come up for a gank from the bottom. Brightwing is able to pick that up at level 1, but that means she won't have bribes, so she'll be a little bit less effective in helping pick up those mercenary camps.
You mentioned, though, that you liked having Brightwing here in the bottom, but also now there's all these other people in the bottom. Goon Squad has 4 of their heroes here in the bottom and won't be able to bring them up very easily to the temples. They are going to head that direction now. The mid temple and the top temple are open. Sylvanas and Zeus and Hosty are here in the top, but Hosty getting very low is going to have to retreat. Looks like Goon Squad will be looking to get their hands on this mid temple, and in the meanwhile, the PLEYZ may be contesting mid. I thought they might look for the top. Evan Drinde may be heading over there.
I think they're looking to see who they've got in each lane, and for now, I think we'll see Vala. Yep, Evan's going to go ahead and hold this top one. So they already have a really good push on top because of Sylvanas. They already had a tower down there, so that's actually a really good plan. They can get more damage on that keep than they would otherwise, where this mid one is just now taking down towers here. Already we're seeing the well being taken out up top, so that is going to help. They need anything they can get, the PLEYZ do, in terms of experience. And if you look, they're actually continuing to sit in lane because they really need to make sure that they aren't getting too behind in experience. Doing a great job of dealing with the Vikings so far.
Absolutely, yeah. We don't see very much difference in experience, if any at all. Both teams now hitting level 5 and crawling closer to level 6 together. Zeus and Evan Drinde are outnumbered here on the top, but Yelkow comes in to join them. Zeus, with a clutch Banshee, gets out of harm's way, even though she is very low. Pirate Rum now coming to join the action as well. Yelkow is low, gets stunned, but the silence on Nubarak means he can't do too much about it. Evan Drinde, Lex Uther, Yelkow, and Pirate Run now grouping up to try to make sure that they protect each other. There are still shots left on that top temple, but nobody is willing to risk it. Boss Floss going to be the first one to attempt. Is going to grab those last few shots, and yes, all of those will go for Goon Squad.
This fort is so low here on top for the Goon Squad. I'm wondering if they will go ahead and pick up Mule on that Chassidar. We've seen it quite a bit here. He already does have that promote as well, so it's definitely a possibility. But everybody from the PLEYZ realized that they had to get back into lanes. They absolutely couldn't afford to be distracted any longer as those Vikings were starting to passively gain experience. And because they did this, they now are still neck and neck in terms of experience, doing such a fantastic job here dealing with those Vikings as both teams are starting to head for those level 7 talents.
Both teams also now looking toward mercenaries. The siege giants in the bottom of the map on the side of Goon Squad will go do some damage in the bottom lane. We also saw the bruisers being taken for the PLEYZ, so both teams making sure to keep pressure going. Lex Luthor will push with those bruisers in the top. Yoda will try to defend, but as you mentioned, that fort is very low up there because of the pressure that Sylvanas kept on it in the early game.
Righto, and they actually did not pick up Mule either, so they will be able to take down that fort no problem. That's a great pickup here, as they are going to be able to get a lot of experience. But Get Up's coming in. They really want to try to pick up Lex Uther here. They're going to, that's a great polymorph, but they can't stay polymorph forever. And now 3 heroes with stuns here means that Lex Uther will go down, and they will pick up a kill there as we prepare for the next temple phase on bottom.
Yeah, poor Brightwing does get melted down. Hosty is in trouble in the bottom lane as well, has to back off and can't do much to defend this bottom tower, wall, and now other tower. Evan Drinde, Zeus, and Pirate Rum, along with Siege Giants, will make short work of those as we go into the temple phase. So they will be looking to do as much damage as possible if they can manage to get that temple.
Something I really like about the PLEYZ is where they're positioning Sylvanas relative to where the temples are spawning. At first she was positioned up top and they were able to get extra damage on the fort from the temple because she was up there pushing. Now they moved her to bottom, and what happened? They have the gate and towers already down, which means if they're able to capture this temple, they will be able to take down the fort, and they did a lot of damage to Boss Boss, a really good gank attempt there, but wasn't quite enough to take anybody out. Now Brightwing is here. This means the full team is here, and they're going to get behind in that XP soak a little bit, but if they're able to pick up that fort, that will help even up the odds just a little bit.
Yeah, I was concerned for a moment. We saw them all heading in to stand on the temple. That's usually not the best idea here at the bottom temple. You want to have people like Pirate Room and Lex Uther standing out there in the lane to make sure that it is not a clear path for Goon Squad to come in through that bottleneck. They are having to back off now, so this may mean danger for Yelkow, who's down here holding the temple. He knows it, and he's going to go hide and then dwarf toss over the abyss to go back safely behind his turrets and walls. There's going to be a
dwarf
Phoenix
toss over that wall.
Yeah, that was really cool. There's going to be a Phoenix that is going to zone them in behind their wall, and that's going to mean that we start to see shots going in favor of the Goon Squad from that bottom temple. They will finish that out, so let's survey the damage. It looks like the fort did go down for Goon Squad. They took that turret very low as well. Only a few shots went down for the Goon Squad toward the PLEYZ. They still keep their fort and their tower, but the wall is completely demolished, as is the well.
Both teams have picked up their heroic abilities. For the Goon Squad, we have the Longboat Raid, Locust Swarm, Archon, Phoenix, like you saw before, and the Divine Shield. Meanwhile, for the PLEYZ, we have Strafe, Avatar, Blink Heal, Wailing Arrow, and Starfall. So really good zoning tools on each side, because you've got the Starfall for one and the Phoenix for the other. Those are so good at helping zone, and you really like something like that when you're fighting around those temples and trying to get your advantage in your positioning there on them.
Absolutely. We see some aggression from Goon Squad, who are looking to push here in the mid lane, but the PLEYZ aren't having it. They're going to turn and try to do some damage themselves. Zeus is coming in to help. The Wailing Arrow goes down, but there's unfortunately not much to deal with it. It just manages to save Zeus as the Banshees take her behind their own lines. It looks like nobody will go down, but it's certainly scary for both sides at certain points. That fort right there is a 1/3 dead, I guess I would say. Boss Floss is looking to stay in front, do lots of damage, but Yelkow is not afraid, being a super tank. He's going to stun Boss Floss. There's going to be a Starfall. He's going to take down Bala right away. Yelkow also getting very low. Does Dwarf Toss out of the way. The Banshees almost do him in, but he manages to run behind. Pirate Rum getting a little bit stunned there, but is also able to run behind. So only Vala taken out in that skirmish, but that means that that fort will go down for the PLEYZ. And that means that 5 forts remain for the PLEYZ, 4 remain for the Goon Squad. The Goon Squad is a little bit ahead in experience now.
Yeah, that kill on Vala was just enough to send everybody from the PLEYZ back, as well as the fact that they had used all of their heroic abilities. And so they are going to go after their giants. The temples are about to spawn. So we've got bot and top in this phase. And this is really the power of the Vikings, is even if there were to be a huge fight over one of these, they could send Olaf up and he could still get the other temple. But all the heroics are still pretty low for both teams. We are going to have an engagement, and Boss is very, very low. Will he die? No, he will not. A great heal from Get Up keeps him alive. Evandrinde went in with the strafe, but it wasn't quite enough to take them out. They were able to back away from that. Now it is Yelkow who's fairly low too. Brightwing is going to help him get away with the pixie dust. A great wailing arrow actually gets Boss and Yoda and Get Up. Balog goes down. Boss very, very low. Once again has to burrow out. And now, Archon solo, great dimensional shift, but he will eventually go down, as will Get Up. So now the PLEYZ are turning the tide of this, even in spite of the fact that their opponents had level 13 talents. That was a great fight from the PLEYZ.
I think one thing that I noticed there that could have changed things a little bit for the Goon Squad, maybe not change the outcome of the fight, but the Phoenix was thrown a little bit forward in the lane, when if it had been thrown a little bit backward and used the wall to block, it could have zoned and protected Goon Squad, as they could have fought behind their wall, as opposed to the PLEYZ being able to run around it and kind of use it as a backdrop to push forward. So one idea, trying to keep in mind using the terrain on this map to your advantage. Now Lex Luthor will take the bottom temple as long as he can, but Boss and Hosty want to take it from him. Lex Luthor will get out of the way, but in the meantime, his teammates Yelkow and Zeus have taken quite a few shots off this top temple, and it looks like they will remain uncontested while they do.
Yeah, it looks like what they're going to do is try to take bot temple while pushing with it to try to save as many shots as possible. There wasn't very many shots left. Really, Lex Luthor was able to get quite a few of them, and now the keep towers are starting to be worked on from the PLEYZ, whereas we still have a fort up for or on the side of the PLEYZ. So structurally, they're definitely winning the war, and they're even up in experience here versus Lost Vikings, which is a great place to be in.
Absolutely. The team's currently even in experience, but now the PLEYZ are starting to look toward their level 16 talents. They're only 1 level away, and if they do manage to get that, they're going to be looking for an engagement. They want to press their advantage as much as possible. The Bruisers will fall to Goon Squad. That means they're going to have some pushing power in the top, but never fear, the PLEYZ also have their own Bruisers pushing there in top, so they are going to try to make short work of these Bruisers, maybe looking to get an engagement if Goon Squad wants to push forward. Phoenix does go down, but as you mentioned, that has a 40-second cooldown, so it's not going to be gone for long. Maybe trying to bait out a little bit more aggression from Goon Squad, who will fall back behind their wall. Looks like Lex Luthor is going to lead the charge, trying to take down this last tower in the top lane.
Yeah, this is a great place for them to engage because Phoenix is down and they are a little bit ahead in experience. And picking up that tower means they're very, very close to 16. So they can afford to be a little bit more aggressive here. If they're able to pick up a kill from the Goon Squad, they will have those 16 talents. But at the same time, Goon Squad are really hoping to make something happen here while they're on the same footing. So here we go. Great strafe from Evandrinde. Everybody. But great healing so far from Get Up. Keeps everybody alive, and now they're down everything but Starfall, where they still have Longboat Raid, they still have the Locust Swarm, and the Divine Shield up. So in terms of heroics here, Goon Squad are feeling a little bit more comfortable with the fight, but at the same time, the PLEYZ are very close to 16, so the Goon Squad have to be really careful until they can get there too. They are pretty close themselves, though.
Yeah, I think that's maybe why they brought the Lost Vikings in instead of having them stay in lanes. They wanted to be ready for this team fight, hoping to get a kill. Looks like they were focused on Pirate Rum. Now Yelkow is stuck behind, but is very tanky. He's going to be okay. We do see Evandrinde getting very low. Muradin will be the first to fall, then Tyrande. Looks like the Goon Squad is coming out very much ahead. They will get their level 16 talents, and they're going to keep pressing their advantage, as now they are ahead in experience, and they turn their attention to the boss.
A really important point in that fight was that they got engaged into this sort of Y-shaped area, and the PLEYZ got separated. Brightwing and Sylvanas were up top while the rest of them were down in the bottom beneath the boss, and that meant that there was no healing from Brightwing on any of the 3 there, and the 3 that died were the ones who were separated from the healer. So really important there. Unfortunate for the PLEYZ, as now the Goon Squad are really going to press this advantage. They've picked up the boss. They stole a bunch of those giants, all of the giants in fact. They're chasing Zeus away, who was at a temple and might not be able to get away now. There's a lot of stun. She's got to be careful. Going to try to Banshee in, but ends up banishing to the entire team, and now Sylvanas has been picked up for 43 seconds. I don't know about that placement, Anna.
That was unlucky or unwise, one of the two. I almost wonder, because we saw Sylvanas running toward the opposite side of the map from her home. I almost wonder if there was maybe some confusion, if not, trying to be sneaky, and that didn't work out. So Sylvanas will be down for another 20 seconds, and we have Goon Squad wailing away on the buildings of the PLEYZ. So they are moving now to be even further ahead. They're about to hit level 18.
So Tazadar actually picked up second strike here. A lot of times we see a dimensional shift talent there as well, the one that allows you to heal back up while in dimensional shift, but going to pick up second strike, so wanting to make sure they can deal a lot more area damage with those psionic storms, which take that and put that along with flame strike, and it makes a lot of sense because that's going to be a lot of area damage on top of the PLEYZ. The PLEYZ also have 2 blood for bloods though, as well as criterize, so anybody who is polymorphed by Brightwing will take more damage, and then Lunar Flare is going to deal more damage too, so I think they're really looking to try to get somebody and pick them off really quickly between that criterize, the blood for blood, and that shooting star. But we've got an engagement here. Yalko's going to go in, going to step back just a little bit. Heroics are up for both teams. This is a really good scouting drone. It's going to allow them to see the angle of the approach here, but Moon Squad are making their press in with a Phoenix. It's going to help them take out this tower.
That's exactly what I was talking about, being mindful of the terrain when you cast that Phoenix. That kept the PLEYZ from being able to effectively defend, gave a lot of room to the Goon Squad. Now they can back off, having done a lot of damage. They are level 19. That wall is almost down. Both towers were down in the middle. And they're looking for their level 20 before they engage again here.
Yeah, it's definitely a great choice to make. Meanwhile, the PLEYZ are going to pick up the bruisers here, and then they're going to need to go defend some lanes. They're definitely pushed against them at this point. Goon Squad can be a little more free, picking up their own bruisers, and we'll see them also going and looking for that engagement. And because every time the PLEYZ move in to take out a minion camp, that will give vision to the Goon Squad to know where they're at. So the PLEYZ, while trying to get experience, have to be careful not to get caught out.
Yeah, the PLEYZ are really hungry for a kill, for a building to go down. They're going to have to go through these bruisers first. Luckily their bruisers are helping as well, but a Phoenix does go down, so they can't really enter the area to do a whole lot. Looks like Lex Uther and Yelkow are kind of leading the charge. They're going to take out this wave, but what is Goon Squad doing? They're not too interested in engaging right now. They know that they'd rather have level 20 before they do. They don't want to lose anybody right now if they don't have to. They're going to spread out, look for experience, take these siege giants in the bottom, and actually defend their top, because it looks like the PLEYZ aren't satisfied to merely back off.
Yeah, the PLEYZ really wanted that really wanted to get an engagement there, but we didn't really see Yelkow commit to anything, and now it's too late. Now they would be fighting into level 20 as the Goon Squad are about to hit that, and plus there are also temples up, at least, yes, this middle one here, so this is going to be tough. I think the PLEYZ will hold it for now until their opponents start to come in at 20. I don't know if they'll stay and fight though at that point. It seems like they're already kind of backing off, so not really wanting to fight at all into level 20, and you can't blame them. But there is a little bit of time as the Goon Squad were down taking the giants. They're just now 20, so starting to come in, and Yelkow and Zeus gotta get out of there, and will do so.
The PLEYZ looking a little shaken. Yelkow actually getting pushed off the temple a couple times by that guardian there and not dodging out of the way. So I think that they're a little bit they're back on their heels, and they are showing that by running back into their base, trying to regroup. They are on their way to level 20 as well though, so if they can manage to stay alive, take advantages as much as they can, and soak up as much experience as possible, they're certainly not out of this game.
Man, they're on their way to level 20, but will they get there in time? The boss is about to spawn, and they're going to have to get back into their base and defend, as it looks like the Goon Squad want to come after this keep that is very, very low after the temple damage. So this is going to be an issue. They can't really be sitting out on the map. Brightwing is trying to deal with this push on bottom and gain some experience at the same time, but they're going to lose this keep here with a great Phoenix that is there to zone.
Yeah, I love that Phoenix between the turret and the keep. Very well placed. The PLEYZ just having to defend, even spending some time on these locusts here. They're going to look to defend also the bottom where 3 Siege Giants are still wailing on their other keep. They're in a bad way in terms of their core being safe. That means that catapults are going to be spawning for them in the mid lane, and they're certainly not far off in the bottom lane either.
Well, they know their opponents are on this boss, and they've just hit 20. They have plenty of time to get something set up because this boss is pretty low. Or is pretty healthy, hasn't taken too much damage. So we've got level 20 talents, we're going to have an engagement here. So Yelkow is going to go ahead and stun a Nubarak, and Nubarak instantly gets taken out. Now he's on the chase as well. Hosty hops into the longboat raid. They're going to try to take it down so that they're stunned on the way out of there, but Yelkow himself getting stunned. They've got to be careful there as it's only little Brightwing there to try to heal them all until Partrum can catch up back up to them with those baby heals that Tyrande does have. So now they're on the chase. They're either going to go after this boss or keep chasing, and yes, the boss will be what they decide to do, and with a Nubarak down, that's a great choice to make for them. Goon Squad still looking at this, maybe going to try to make something happen here. They've got Kael'thas who can deal a ton of damage. If they can get somebody low, they could even it back up. There is the boss. Get up does not get there in time. Yelkow will go down though. A great Starfall is helping to zone, but so is the Phoenix. Eric goes down. It's one of the Vikings down, and Uther's running in, or running out actually, with that Divine Shield just trying to stay alive. Zeus is on the chase of Posty, but will get away. They do secure the boss, and now the Goon Squad will have to defend as the next temples are spawning.
That is just what the PLEYZ needed. They traded 1 life for that boss and for that engagement for 2 lives from the Goon Squad. Now they have some freedom to go look for these temples. Zeus is already on the bottom one getting shots off in the same lane as the boss is fighting. So the Goon Squad has to deal with that. They are fighting off the boss in the bottom lane. Kael'thas looking to drive Zeus off the temple, but her Banshees are going to be enough to get her out of the way. In the meantime, Lex Uther on Brightwing is already at the top temple. That's going to be doing damage to the keep in the top lane, which is also very low. That's going to go down, bringing them to level 21, evening up the experience as well as the buildings. So now this game is anybody's.
This game is very, very close. There are 2 keeps going to be down on the side of the Goon Squad, but there's 2 keeps down on the side of the PLEYZ as well. So it does look like this keep is already pretty low. It had a golem wailing, or a boss wailing on it, and it might actually get taken out with these final 5 shots. It's going to be close. There it goes. But this keep is also pretty exposed. If at any point they were to lose a team fight, well, if they lost a team fight, they would just lose the game. So it is going to definitely come down to one of these big engagements.
Goon Squad wanting to take every advantage possible. They're going to grab the Siege Giants. We do see the Owl come out from the PLEYZ. They know that they are there. We also have Siege Giants pushing in the bottom lane already from Goon Squad. They're going to be taken out though by the PLEYZ. It looks like Goon Squad now going for Bruisers. We want to make sure that all of the mercenaries on the map are taken before either team looks for an engagement.
Really good Alice from Tyrande constantly keeping tabs on the Goon Squad, knowing exactly where they are and what they need to do. And so I think we'll just see the PLEYZ go ahead and clear out this lane. But the Goon Squad have a really good thing going for them because they have those bruisers which are pushing it top lane exactly where that final keep remains. And so they're going to escort them in here now because they have the possibility of evening up the structures here. But they have to be really careful because engaging in here, it's a little bit of a choke. As you see, they're already taking down the walls, trying to make it a little bit easier to engage in as the bruisers start to walk in. Zeus, though, has that unstable poison. These bruisers are going to go down pretty quickly, and they have to watch out not to take too much damage from it, as they can possibly catch it from the bruisers as well. Look, they're already down. They've dealt no damage to that keep.
Yeah, I think that was a smart choice by Goon Squad to push alongside those bruisers, but I kind of thought they were going to be a little more aggressive, and I think to make it worthwhile, they would have had to. They are turning around now. They're looking to feint like they're going away and then come back. The PLEYZ are waiting for them, though. They would love to engage here. There is a silence on a Nubrak. Boss pushed out of the way, but Phoenix does go down, zoning the PLEYZ back behind their building. Will they be able to protect it? It looks like Brightwing goes down. Still no one down for Goon Squad. Just kidding. Tassadar also will go down. The keep is getting so low. Yelkow still trying to beat the Vikings out of the way. They do jump and manage to take some damage away from Boss and Yoda, who are still quite alive, get up as well. Olaf will fall. Muradin and Brightwing are down for the PLEYZ, but the Vikings, Tassadar, and Uther are down for Goon Squad, so they have to retreat now. The temples will be spawning, so they're looking to grab those on their way out, but the PLEYZ are close behind.
Whoever can get the 2 here is going to have it. The keep is already down, and for now, blue team, Goon Squad are holding this. It's so important to note that with that redemption talent, Get Up was able to come back, and he's the one who's being able to hold this temple. He's going to hold it as long as possible. Will go down, but it might be okay. It might already be enough. It is going to be enough as a noob went to the bottom, and this game will go to Goon Squad. We're going to game 5, Anna.
Oh my gosh. If Goon Squad had not backed off from that fight in the top lane just now, they wouldn't have won the game. They had to back off and grab those temples. And man, the PLEYZ just didn't respond fast enough. If they had run for those temples, we may have seen a different ending to that game. That was so close.
Yeah, that decision at the end, once you see the 3 temples spawn, is always one of the hardest decisions, is how to split up there. And I think they did that to a T, the Goon Squad did, knowing, hey, we've got Uther back up. He can run up as the ghost to that temple. He just has to hold it as long as possible. Even if he dies, it's fine. We have a Nubrak who's already spawning back up. He went straight down to that bottom temple as well. And so you don't have to, at that point, it doesn't become like, hold it as long as we can, but don't die. It becomes, hold it as long as we can, do everything you can, because if you're able to hold that many, you're going to win. And they did. That was a crazy back and forth game on Sky Temple. Not at all snowbally like we sometimes see, and that's the exact type of Sky Temple game I love to see.
And you got what you asked for, Gilly. It is now 2-2. We're going to the final match, the ace match in the finals of the HeroesHype Amateur Series BetaFinals, sponsored by Eye on the Storm. Can't wait for Game 5, Gilly.
I can't either. Raise your pikas. I will play it for you one more time because you guys love it so much. I'm just kidding. I love it too. Raise your pikas. We'll be right back with Game 5. See you very, very soon.